This is the Alternative Commentary Collective's podcast for the 31st of March.
The Agenda, an Alternative Commentary Collective podcast.
G'day there, welcome along to the Agenda podcast. On today's ep, we're going to be covering bitch slapping, horse meat eating, America's Cup. We've got the White On of the Week, birth, deaths and marriages, McOnie Road Studios, attendance required. But first of all, welcome along, James McOnie. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Yes, I've been out and with some kind of illness. Not quite sure what it was, but it was a couple of lines.
We've been saying it was you developed from HIV into
D.
full-blown AIDS, and you were on Home D with a certain well-known
Celebrity.
Is that true or false?
No, look, honestly, I was, that part's false. Part of it's false.
Yeah.
And I've just been out with the vid, and it's been a pain in the ass. And actually, the ass was the least of my problems, to be honest. Although a lot of sitting on the couch, so it becomes a pain in the ass. You know, that's the issue.
Sweet as. Well, let's go around the world and what's going on the sporting agenda.
Can't find the knob.
Excuse me? Hey, have you eaten horse? Have you ever eaten horse?
I don't think I've eaten horse. I must admit I was in New Caledonia, had something at a barbecue, and it was turtle.
Oh.
Back in the day, they were eating turtle.
I've eaten horse. I ate it. I didn't know it was horse. It was in Slovenia on a stag do.
Right.
And we went to a restaurant and we ordered the kind of stew. The stew, and it was beautiful and tender and delicious. And it wasn't until after everyone finished it that the waiter came and told us it was horse.
Yeah.
But Dame Valerie Adams, she's been chowing down on some equine and got a bit of grief for it.
So tell us the story. What was the context? Was it she was at a barbie? Was she at the Cobb and Co? And
she was at Valentine's.
Oh yeah, it was her birthday.
Yeah, it was her birthday, so she ate for free.
Yeah.
And I think instead of putting a pig on the spit, they'd put bone crusher on there, and she was gnawing off the bone.
This is the issue. I think having Olympians go, like you never think, I better look after Ready Teddy or Charisma. Keep her away from the shot put team. But sometimes you just go, wait a second. I know they're eating horse in some cultures.
Oh, in France.
In France, Tonga, there's all these different places around the world where horse is on the menu. And there's other animals in other countries, and if you mention them in a joke, you actually get completely slammed. Like, for example, you could probably say something mean, or not mean, but you could say something about Japanese people hunting whales or whatever.
Yes.
But now you can't actually joke about it. You've just got to actually talk about it and say there is hunting of whales happening by Japanese boats.
And they eat them.
I've
seen them in the supermarket.
That's right. So whale is being eaten. Is dolphin being eaten?
I think there is one. Or is there a little bay that they beat them to death somewhere in Scandinavia?
Oh, yeah, exactly. And the thing is, you can beat up on the Norwegians a bit more for that, or the Danes, or whatever that bay is, where they all come in and they pretty much get their clubs out and they're like, "Scurdy birdie, kill the birdie, sturdy birdie, get away."
I think you've introduced the Swedish chef from the Muppets into
it's the Kelly to
Sorte, dolphin, bash. Anyway.
Orca on the menu.
Bottle nose.
Maui, shit. Get
away from the Maui.
Step away from the frickin' Maui, you bloody Danish, Norwegian, bloodthirsty maniacs.
Getting back to the horse eating. So let's be honest here. So it's okay for your dog or your cat to eat horse? Because let's be honest, most pet food is made out of old racehorses and old horse meat. And so pets eat horses.
Or your gran when she's a little bit sort of lonely and just can't be bothered cooking.
Yeah, and you accidentally feed her the jelly meat.
Yeah. You don't feed her jelly meat.
Well,
I'm talking about old people that decide, look, it happens sometimes,
Well, they confuse it with the Spam, you see, because you can slice Spam up and fry it.
Well, it's called Fancy Feast. What are you going to, in the end, if you think your pet's getting a better deal than you're probably going to go, hey, I'm fancy.
But there must be quite a lot of protein in a horse and a lot of meat in a horse. Look at a
hell
horse.
of a lot of meat.
That's a big old beast that's got some big old meat on it.
It's a muscular thing, though, isn't it? A horse is an absolute weapon.
But it comes up. But you're right though, because the equine fans come out and they'll come out hard and they'll come out strong because they love those. They love the shit out of those things, don't they?
Well, it's quite interesting because the equine people, there's a lot of them, I guess, that ride horses. That's absolutely fine. But there's a lot of people that whip the shit out of horses, train them to within an inch of their lives. If they die on the track, they go out there and shoot them. And so
They don't shoot them anymore, do they? It's not. Surely it's a lethal injection.
Well, it's like a type of gun.
Because I get it in my mind, because when a horse,
Isn't it?
unfortunately, when a horse breaks its leg in a race, where they bring out the curtains in the van, you don't hear it.
It's not that kind of gun. You know what I'm talking
Like
about.
a bolt.
It's like a bolt.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
Not even like a slow lethal injection where they slowly close their eyes and you can cradle their head and give them a kiss on the forehead.
I'm not sure how people are killing horses at racetracks anymore. But I did work at Ellerslie for a summer holiday job, actually, back in my student days.
Mucking out? Were you mucking out?
I was mucking out, and once the main race meetings were over, they let me go. They kept on my friend. I was like, what?
They didn't shoot you?
No, they probably would have wanted to. It was an exciting time because I met Philip Leishman. I thought that was cool. I did muck out a lot, but I mainly did weed whacking around the entire Ellerslie race course, which is a long way.
That's a couple of K.
mile.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a couple of K of weed whacking. And I imagine once you finish weed whacking, you'd have to start
Go back
again.
the other side,
Yeah, and start again.
Yeah, and then the painting, they didn't trust me with the painting because if you paint and you fuck it up and there's paint on the grass, it scares the horses. So they leave the experienced, steady hand man to do the painting.
What? So, like, you telling me painting? You're talking about the handrail around the
Yeah,
rail.
yeah, the
So
rail.
you paint the rail, and someone's saying if there's a speck of paint on the grass, it
Yeah.
spooks the horse.
Yeah.
Oh, those horses they need to grow up.
They need to be eaten
grow
alive.
up, they need to be.
Put on the barbie.
They need to be put on a spit at Dame Valerie's house and covered in salt, and maybe a little basting. And anyway, no.
Look, all I'm going to say is different strokes for different folks. If we're going to come down on what you're allowed to eat or not, then it probably needs to be, how would you put it? There needs to be some kind of like global consensus of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't just go and pick on one nation if it's been part of their culture forever. You know?
Yeah.
So let's not do that.
So, strangest thing you've eaten? Was it the turtle?
It was the turtle. I think the turtle was. I'm trying to think where the crocodile was on the menu as well. But
Oh, do you know where the crocodile was on the menu?
Yeah.
That was in Hamilton at a pizza restaurant in Hamilton. Armadillos. They had the crocodile pizza, and it was rubbery as all hell. I wouldn't recommend a crocodile. It was white meat, just tasted like Australia. Like, Australians always chewing. Fucking koalas are always chewing. Your fucking sportsmen are always chewing. It was like that. It made you chew.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else there was. Kangaroo pops around, it bounces around the place, doesn't it? Eh?
I've eaten
Restaurant
camel.
to
I've eaten
restaurant.
camel in the Middle East.
Oh, have you?
So, I mean, look, that's a
What
good
about camel toe? Have you
That's
had?
a good. I've had a lot of camel toe.
Okay. Yeah.
I haven't eaten it. Well, I don't think I have.
Well, what are you doing down there then?
My own camel toe.
Right,
Look,
okay.
everyone's tried. Okay, everyone's
Yeah,
tried.
right,
Everyone's tried. No, but in the Middle East when I lived there, because there's an example. Like,
You know what Miss
they love-
Elliott says?
What?
Go downtown, eat it like a vulture. Okay.
Like, peck at it. Tear
Anyway,
it.
they don't.
Anyway, in the Middle East, they love the shit out of camels over there. They love camels. They have camel beauty competitions. You can win millions of dollars with a sexy camel, and they breed these camels. They're worth heaps, but they also eat them. And we're out in the middle of the desert, and camel was on the menu, and you have to cook it for about a week because she's a bit tough.
Right.
But it's a dark meat, and it was covered in fat and gravy and stuff. So it did taste a lot like kind of beef, like
Was
slow
it a
cooked beef.
briskety, stewy
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
So
Like,
I mean, knowing that it's camel that's the thing to me, that they're a horsey, camely kind of, it's just different for me. I don't know why, we can eat beef and lamb. I mean, beautiful lambs. I had lambs and took them to Calf Club Day, even though you're allowed to take lambs to Calf Club Day. Led them around, won ribbons. Well, not really. I was always shit. And then probably had them for dinner. Bloody
a week later.
yeah.
These lamb chops are delicious, Mum.
Yeah.
What did you do to them? Well, you tenderized it on your what do you call it? What do they call it? Calf days.
Feed them up with the old bottle,
Yeah. Hey, America's Cup, Gomburger, off to Barcelona. Hola.
Barcelona.
¿Cómo está Barcelona?
Barcelona.
Yeah. Well, I was when it was in Valencia.
Sí, claro.
I had a great time in Valencia when it was there because I was living in England at the time and running the Beige Brigade, and we ran multiple tours to Valencia.
Well, Valencia is fun because you can chuck the B and the th. So you can Valencia.
Valencia. Yeah, but you got Barcelona.
Barcelona.
But it's kind of hard. I'm struggling a little bit to get behind it. I know the reasoning behind it, but now I'm like, yeah, I care a little bit less now. I cared a little bit when it was here, but now I care a little bit less.
I think what we have to realise with the America's Cup is it's a big prestige event. If it didn't have that fancy frickin' old mug that was had the crap beaten out of it by New Zealand's Will Smith. Actually, was his name Smith, that protester?
Yeah.
He
It was Smith, another Smith.
Smith.
He took it. He didn't slap it. He took an axe to it.
He went crazy on it. But if it wasn't for that old frickin' mug, I don't think anyone would give a shit about, or not as much about the America's Cup.
Yeah, but I think it's because we're so invested in it. It's kind of weird that it's been taken away.
It's the history. It's the history, right?
I completely understand everything, but I'm like, I don't know if I can get behind it. I don't know if I can do that.
I'm into it because I think Pete Burling and Blair Tuke are great New Zealanders. It's just amazing. And the whole crew, even Josh Jr., the guy without a surname, just a wonderful New Zealander. You know, like the guy who came up, made the New Zealand crew, and then just crashed at Pete's place. It's like, you know, the skipper just says, "Oh, you can
sleep on the couch,
sleep on the couch, mate," and just overstays his welcome. He's just there, and that's what I love about it. I think there's something really down home about the inner workings of the team. It's just I'm talking about the overall competition. You do have to realise that it is really just rich men having a big game of soggy biscuit.
Yeah, you're right.
It is. That's what it is.
But they're going to have a serious PR campaign, like, because New Zealanders being New Zealanders, are going to fall out of love with them in the next 2 years because they're going to fuck off to Barcelona. And we're not going to see them. They'll try and pretend like they care. And they probably do. I imagine that Burling and Tuke would care like nobody's business. But they're going to have to convince us to fall in love with them.
Mate, if the ACC covered it, I bet you Pete Burling would say, "Oh, you can stay on the couch. Josh Jr., you have the futon. Yeah, fuck off, Josh."
He'd regret that in a week. He'd go, "You guys are out. Fucking get out of here. You can't come
What have you done to the toilet? What have you done to that thing? It was pristine a week ago." Look, it's hard to care. The other thing is it is about money, and you totally get it. But it's the wake up call. It's that sort of waking up from the dream, going, "This is amazing. It's a great time for New Zealand sport," and then realizing, "Oh, that's right. It's about money."
Yeah, all about money. But with some good news, Moana Pasifika.
Oh,
off the mark on Friday against the Canes. What a game. Like, you'd be disappointed if your Canes, having commentated that with Storm Hitawa on Sky Sport 9, Hurricanes should have been ahead by 20.
Yeah, I
20 minutes
I tuned in, listened to yourself and Storm. Wonderful call on Channel 59 on Sky, and it's interesting because I was watching it thinking this could be good, and then Hurricanes looked like they were in control, but then they didn't put them away.
Nah.
I tell you what, buddy, Moana Pasifika, that golden point try is probably the best golden point finish I've seen. Because usually in Australia, when they have golden point in league, it's all the droppy. It's a droppy.
Mate, it's a droppy. Drop it, mate.
Come on, mate. He's in the pocket. He's in the pocket. Yeah, he fucking got it.
It's always against the Warriors as well. Yeah.
It's a droppy. And it's like, no, actually, Danny Tuala kicking from 80 metres out, winning the chase. With
no one home. No one home.
He had to go. He blew past a couple of people.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was, obviously no one.
No,
right
in the
there.
pocket.
But he had to burn off about 2 or 3 people. I was like, that's a nice finish.
Yeah.
Because he was kicking, he had to toe it ahead, and there was a guy right on him, and the bounce wasn't great. And he just went over. I'm sure you commentated this perfectly, G Lane, as I remember it. In fact, it's funny. I think that moment was just so good that it was. I think everybody, like, there was chahooing everywhere.
Oh, the crowd was so good because we just stopped talking, and you could just hear like coming from the crowd, the players. It was so good. It was good to see. It's like it actually re-energized this tournament for me. You totally did it. Like, oh yeah, now we're actually going to see a bit of footy, and people are getting behind it, and you actually see fans were getting in behind it as well. So it gave me a little bit of a rugby wide on for the first time in a while. Yeah,
I think Moana Pasifika is everybody's second team now. Like before, it was like I'm obviously Chiefs for life, and then Blues because I live in Auckland and love varsity rugby, and all our players play for the Blues, and it's like. Don't know how to say this to you guys, but there's someone else.
Yeah,
it's Moana Pasifika.
And Levi Amur, the centre for Moana Pasifika.
Yeah.
He's terrifying. He's
The
got
centaur. Should we call him the centaur?
Centaur. He's got muscles on his eyebrows. Have you seen? It's like he lifts weights on his eyebrows. He's got these dangerous green eyes, and the rig on him.
Is the centaur part horse, part man? Are we going full? Would someone we know like to eat Levi Almore, the centaur?
Well, there's plenty of meat on him. He was
shit, I reckon.
He was terrifying. Every time he got the ball, it was terrifying.
His top is like a wetsuit, eh?
Yeah.
He's like a dad who wears the rash vest because he's put on a few kgs thanks to, well, I'm talking about myself here, over lockdown. And it's like, oh, the dad bod, I'm just going to squeeze into it. But he is totally, I don't know how he gets out of that jersey. That's a story in itself.
They must have some sort of high ab in the changing room that they get into, and it goes, lifts up and shakes them. It shakes them off because
I reckon they lube him.
You
I reckon they lube him like a sausage, like there's a machine, and
Talc,
he puts his hands out,
Yeah.
and then he goes along a machine.
Oh,
and
they put with Christmas trees. When they wrap Christmas trees in the netting, so they go through in the shirt, and they come out with the shirt on them. Then what do? Just set it on fire afterwards just to get it off.
Yeah, that's it. And the Levi Amur is ready to play, and he can't do anything apart from play rugby. And then at the end of the game, I don't know how it takes about 3 or 4 people to rip it off.
But then again, I was confused because they played on Tuesday night against the Blues, like a catch-up game, and that seemed like it came out of, I don't know, maybe I just didn't pay enough attention, but all of a sudden I thought it was promoting it for Tuesday in a month or so, and then they're playing again on Saturday.
I know it's the
I
whole
know they're playing
competition.
catch-up, but
it's messed up. The midweek game doesn't have the same gravitas, does it? Really?
Nah. But this Friday night footy's back on. You're back on the tools, James McOnie, and it is Crusaders Highlanders again. We've already called a Crusaders Highlanders match, but Matt Heath is going to be in Twizel, so he won't be here crying into his soup over the Highlanders. Usual story against the Crusaders, but we're hoping for an upset.
Nice, yeah. That should be. I mean, that's another one where the Highlanders have sort of thought about being the banana skin team for everybody, but just haven't quite done it yet. You know, they've got promise and they've got class. Yeah. It's just, I think it's a patchwork team. And Tony Brown has said, "Well, I'm the mad scientist. I'm the genius. I can work with anything. Give me whoever you want. Bring me your rejects. I'll turn this guy into something special." And I think he's got next year. The Highlanders need to do something because then after that, Aaron Smith leaves, presumably. The Aaron Smith era is over, and when you got the best player in the country buzzing around doing that.
Yeah, but you got Fakatava.
Fakatava's amazing.
You got Fakatava.
It's all in the nines, really, because those two guys are world class. And then you sort of go, well, everyone else are wonderful battlers and kind of like good to see out there. No, but it is a bit like that. It's like, shit, give that guy a contract. He thoroughly deserves it. And then the poor bastard has to line up against Levi Almur, the centaur. Or no, but you look at some of those guys who are just firing on all cylinders and stuff I saw. But they're not too far off, are they? Because they had the big comeback against the Blues. I think they're just lacking a little bit of firepower, X factor that they used to have. They used to have Waisaki in Naholo, remember? And the ball would go out to him. Waisaki Naholo.
Well, they still sing it. They still sing that. They still sing that down it. And great to see the zoo back. Great to see the zoo back also in Sistema lunchbox of Foresight Bar. Good to see crowds back. But crowds didn't bother turning up to last Tuesday night's match against Netherlands Black Caps. Did you see that?
Yes.
The gates were open at Bay Oval, but no one arrived.
Really?
No, the crowd was smaller than if it was restricted to 100 people per zone.
Fuck, man.
It was. I don't know if people were just nervous about not going out. I mean, it is in Tauranga, which got the oldest population in New Zealand. Potentially, they might have been. I don't know, but it was disappointing because it was like the Black Caps were playing. And I shit you not, 3/4 of the oval was just grass. It wasn't good.
It's a tough one because if you look at the Dutch team, their best player is you little Ripon, isn't it?
Yeah. Mickey
Ripon, who's a South African who played for Otago a few years ago.
He's still playing.
Still playing for Otago. Yeah.
And then
so I couldn't remember whether he was still around.
And then Van Beek. Van Beek.
But obviously Logan he's played basketball for New Zealand under-19s. Yeah. He's been in New Zealand cricket for a long time. But if you look at that, Ripon is kind of he's their main guy.
Yeah.
And he's South African. I mean, we've got imports as well. I mean, Devon Conway, we've got three-way, we've got a minute piece from Zimbabwe. We've had the hairy Jav. But sometimes you just look at...
BJ Watling.
You look at Holland. Yeah,
Neil
exactly.
Wagner.
Oh, shit, there's a lot, eh? Okay, I'm just going to shut up about imports. But it'll be kind of cool if they all came over and went, yeah, well, where can I get a schmuck and a pancake?
Yeah, like you hear them in the field as well, because I suppose the beauty of having no crowd is you can hear every single thing on the stump mic, everything. And all they go, bowl mate, well done mate, yeah, bowling repeat, like it's all Kiwis and Aussies out there. But Max O'Dowd, the opening batsman, I don't know if you caught him opening the batting. He bats like he is Babe Ruth. He holds his bat up behind here and he goes into the crease and he lifts his front leg.
Oh.
You watch this next game on Saturday.
He cocks the leg.
He cocks the leg and puts all the weight on the back. And he's a North Shore boy. He's from the Northern Beaches. Max O'Dowd, also a drum and bass DJ.
Oh, is he?
Is
that what he does?
He's a drum and bass DJ and opening the batting for Netherlands. So the next game, we're how can we make it more interesting? Do we have to turn it into a drinking game? Do you have to finish half a vessel for every boundary Netherlands get? Do you have to finish your vessel for every wicket they get? Like, how are we going to make it interesting? Because I struggled in the commentary because they farted through their 50 and got 203. So they proved that they could bat for 50 overs, which was disappointing because it was dangerously slow. And then New Zealand came out and got it in 38 overs or whatever.
The sad thing, I guess, for the Netherlands, and let's be honest, I'm not sure who of their players has ended up in other nations, but even if they had a really great player, it could be a total Owen Morgan scenario where they just sort of jump over to some other team. You know, that's the biggest issue with the minnow team like the Netherlands. Like if they had a player who played lots and lots of county cricket and suddenly qualified for England, that's who they play for. Right?
Yeah, the big left arm opener, he was handy. He was bowling up now 140, and he plays county cricket.
Right,
and he was handy.
Fred Klaassen.
Yeah.
Fred
Klaassen. He was big. He was a big unit. It was good to watch. But maybe
did he have a bit of a windmill action?
Maybe he did that. But I'd tell you what, they were putting a lot of fingers and a lot of dikes trying to prevent that run rate. I think maybe the great leveller. I'm going to bring it back to the great leveller, and we talked about it with Jeremy Wells on the commentary about potentially New Zealand at the break of innings of the next two matches just get on the whakamanas and then come out in whether they're batting or bowling, just to even the keel a little bit. Good to see maybe Kyle Jamieson come off the long run after the whakamanas. Just see how he goes.
I am a big fan of TikTok, the old Blair Tickner.
Has he been crushing tin? Has he been chucking some tin around? Because he was looking.
He's a big unit.
He was looking good. He gave us a flash of his abs when he was coming back. He just lifted his shirt up for the camera, running a washboard.
Cum gutters.
The cummies were there. He had like decent little guns, and somewhere he's found 15 kilometres because he was bowling at 145.
No, well, the thing is he has touched around that speed before. It's just that we haven't properly invested in him. He's one of those bowlers who I've thought, this guy needs to bowl test matches or something. He needs to be given a chance. But if you come in and you're the white ball guy, the door's shut everywhere else. But and obviously we're the World Test champions, so we don't kind of need him. And I'm a big fan of Tickner. I reckon he'd be horrible to face.
Slingy is all hell, and he looks like a psycho Scottish drug fiend. He looks like Begbie. Have you seen his haircut?
Yeah,
his haircut and the moustache is Begbie. Just don't comment on his pants at a urinal; he'll glass the shit out of you.
He's our boomer as well with the weird action coming in and freaking people out.
And it's TikTok. He comes in with his hands like this. So no, he got a 4 for. Unlucky not to get.
He's
a 5
the Asian good luck cat as well, isn't he? In the store, the Asian. Yeah, that's like you can buy them from the emporiums and stuff, and that's TikTok.
And it was like Will Young got his debut 100, so that's something. And he was rooming with TikTok Tickner, and they said before the game 5 for 100, and almost nailed it. Will Young got 100, and TikTok Tickner got a 4 for 50. A little bit expensive, but that's all right.
So we're playing Holland, aren't we? So that's
it's not.
When are you commentating next? Is it
Saturday 2:00? Lee Hart is going to join us, so they'll no doubt turn into a mass drinking game.
Isn't there a Friday game?
No. That's Friday. We've got Friday night football, and then we've got Saturday, and then the Monday, and then the season's over. It's all over. But we've got the Women's Cricket World Cup, getting to the pointy end of that. Unfortunately, No New Zealand in there, so everyone's kind of interest is kind of dived off a cliff. But it's Aussie versus the Windies is today, and England v South Africa tomorrow is the semi-finals. But you got to say, I've never seen a more one-sided tournament. Aussie are going to hump everyone.
Yeah, Aussie just look like if one of their stars goes down, the other one goes, more for me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to smack it around. And they all look just as confident as each other. The nets must be, bowling in the nets, you just be taking evasive action the whole time. They just absolutely club it. But I love the Windies, and tell you what, great fielding team. I've seen them take some absolute screamers in the field, and so that's what it's going to take. Catches win matches, G Lane.
Catches win matches.
And they go aerial, the Australians, and I tell you what, if the Windies can hold on to their catches, look out.
Oh, they're no chance.
Okay.
No chance. No chance. And the Wawas!
Oi,
Was that the worst game of rugby league you've ever watched?
can I talk about the South African women's pace attack?
Oh, yes.
Good.
Good.
Shit, they're good. And do you know what the difference? I always look at, and I know it's quite harsh because you always have a different strategy for bowling at the death. But those women from South Africa bowling at the death, fucking frightening.
One's quite terrifying.
Yeah.
Ishmael.
Yeah, Ishmael.
And then there's another one.
And she is fired up as well. She's like,
that's what I mean.
"Fuck yeah, give me the ball." Yeah, exactly.
And then there's another one that bowls like Sean Tate, who comes in and rocks back like Sean Tate. And
slings it in. And I'm like, that is kind of different to what New Zealand bowling at the death is kind of like, okay.
Who's going to get hit for the least round of runs?
Yeah, exactly. And it's also that whole thing of, you might just get a bit complacent or misjudge this, thing as you slog across the line, or something might happen, whereas the South Africans are just pinning everybody back. And I don't know, like, I'd actually quite like to see them in the final.
Wawas. So, straight after Friday Night Football, I switched over and watched the Wawas, and I watched the second half, Wawas v Tigers. Look, I'm not a massive league fan. I tune in and out. But I watched that second half, and to me, it looked like two teams who were trying to lose, like it was fixed. The ball handling was shocking, because then the next game was the Roosters,
Rabbitohs,
Roosters, and it was like in a different league. It was like watching All Blacks Australia, and then it was like watching Romania v Estonia.
Yeah. Well, I didn't watch the game partly because it must have been on the same time as the Chiefs.
Yeah, it was. It was so stressful to watch, because like they had it in the bag, and then they'd knock it on, and they'd give the Tigers had a minute to score, and it was like, oh, I've seen this script, and then Tigers would knock it on. You go, oh, they've got it, and then we'd knock it on, and there'd be like 30 seconds left. We're like, no.
There's two things about that game. When I see the Warriors are so close with one of those Australian teams, I just don't want to see the bunker or the refs give one of those shitty decisions against the Warriors, which they always do. Because I'm a massive Warriors fan, love them. And then with Blocker Roach is commentating, he hates the Warriors, and he's always like, oh, I think it's pretty much a case of the Tigers just losing this one. It's not really a case of New Zealand winning it. It's like, shut up. This is like every single time he's just like basically going, oh, I don't know about this. Everyone's going, Reece Walsh is the greatest human being or player I've ever seen in my life. He's like, oh, I think he's a little bit overrated, this kid. Must be a reason why Kevy let him go. I'm like, shut up, Blocker. You do not care. Like, I know what you're doing, because you're trying to stealth under the radar criticize rather than just come out and say,
I hate the Warriors.
I hate the Warriors. Just say it.
We should get T-shirts just says "Shut up, Blocker." Just shut up, Blocker. Shut up, Blocker.
We've had enough. I know what you're trying to do, mate, and I know that it's hurt seeing a New Zealand team, but I tell you what, your fucking team and the Tigers wouldn't have been anywhere near as good if it wasn't for Gary Freeman from New Zealand. Thank you very much. And
Socks down.
I think Olsen played for them as well for the Tigers for a bit, and then and they were only truly elite when Ellery Hanley showed up.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're doing it local, Blocker. You need these other people, don't you? So just accept it.
Has someone briefed the bunker as well? Because the bunker have gone from kind of umming and ahhing, taking ages, to just making the ballsiest call. Yeah, definitely knock that on as a definite knock on, lose control. And it was like, no, it wasn't. That was not a definite knock on, lose control. But they've just come in decisive. Someone said, you've got to be more decisive. Just stick with your decision. And they're outrageously wrong.
Oh, that's the thing. Some of the bunker is an abomination. There's a great video doing the rounds. We'll post it on the ACC or somewhere, where the guy's showing. He goes, try to New Zealand, and the guy from the bunker wakes up and goes, what did you say? No, come back here. No. And every no. And then it's a good video, and it pretty much sums up how you feel when you watch the Warriors play and you can see, are they going to find anything wrong with this? They'll find something.
Oh, yeah, yes. They'll go back about 10 sets and disallow it.
The way that they're killing us, though, is because I always thought, okay, before it was just basic, bad decisions and all that sort of stuff. But now there's this real murky area of the 6 again, and you watch it. We got hammered a few times last year with the 6 again. Yeah, just wave it on, and it's like, that's a real tough one because I actually think that's where the Warriors got hammered a few times last year. And there's another one as well where, those really good offloaders like Jason Taumalolo, he'll stand in the tackle and try and offload at the very last second. And I saw the Warriors pretty much try and wrestle him down to the ground. He's an absolute beast of a man, low centre of gravity. And because they wrestled him for so long, the refs went, penalty. And it's like, no, you have to because he's going to get
the motherfucker's going to offload.
Yeah, what are you fucking supposed to do, mate? It's Jason Taumalolo.
Fuck up, blocker.
Fuck. Oh, it's just the right Warriors overzealous there. You got to bloody let go. Let the game flow. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
If you want to hear more NRL chat, Mad Monday podcast, tune into that because they go balls deep into the NRL and the Wawas.
Can I do my Jeff Tuvey?
You go.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There's got to be an investigation. It's ridiculous.
All of their former Aussie NRL players have had their larynx jumped on several times, and they're talking like they're taking a massive shit. Or, Tuvey, Steve Price.
Have they gotten rid of Darren Lockyer? Have they just said Cooper
Well, they can't hear him. They can't hear him. It's like
I haven't seen him for a while.
Only dogs can hear him. So he commentates for dogs. Righto, Wide On of the Week.
This is the Agenda's Wide On of the Week.
What gave you a wide on, James McOnie, apart from getting healthy again and seeing the outside and coming into work, into the studio?
Well, it's Danny Tawala loving it. All Whites marching on. That's a big deal to me. But
who are they going to play? Costa Rica. Is that right? Is that what I was looking
possibly.
right?
I think it might be. It's one of those ones. Either that or Dr. Ropata's Guatemala. No,
so
Guatemala.
it's a fourth place American.
Yeah.
So it's going to go Canada, USA, Mexico, and then whatever's next. We don't want to play Mexico. We played them last time.
It's generally like Honduras or Costa Rica. The thing about it is that we just need to avoid Mexico and USA at the moment. Canada have got an absolute star who plays for Bayern Munich, so we could be in actually 2 stars. There's a couple bouncing around, more than that. But anyway, so they're quite dangerous as well. Even Jamaica is a problem, but I think it is generally going to be that Costa Rica-Honduras thing.
Yeah.
Costa Rica historically are really quite strong, and they've got players all through Europe.
Oh yeah,
it's ridiculous.
All those guys,
ridiculous.
Even Panama are dangerous. Like any of those, like fourth place South America's team.
Yeah,
it's
a worry.
It is a worry, but it's going to be played in neutral, isn't it? It's going to be played in Qatar or in Abu Dhabi, so it's going to be neutral. So you won't be punished with having to go to South America and be kept up all night with punishers letting fireworks off outside your window.
And it's one game, which I think is bloody good, because the issue with the New Zealand team is I think they're really together. They're a young side, but we've also got all this interesting, you could say, firepower to bring off the bench if we're in the shit.
Yeah.
So if Chris Wood and Sapri aren't going to do it for you, then Callum McCowart and all these other guys who are kind of like quirky, interesting, but goal-scoring guys, which we never had before, can come on and maybe,
fart out a draw, and then we go to a penalty shootout.
Yeah,
that's pretty much that's what's in my head.
It's probably the best. It is probably the best result. I mean, I'm sure our goalie, whoever makes it, will be pretty good in a shootout. But I think the Costa Rican keeper plays for Paris Saint-Germain.
Awesome.
Navas,
yeah.
Keylor Navas, yeah.
He plays for PSG. So
dare to dream. Dare to dream, James. The FIFA World Cup is in October.
Keylor Navas from PSG.
Yeah, there you go. Dare to dream. So what? So you had several wide-ons this week. You had a lot of wide-ons.
I did have a lot. But what about yourself?
I can't go past Levi Moore. He like that for me. He was terrifying, but that terrifying gave me a little bit of a wide-on. Watching him terrorise the Hurricanes, and I think it was unfair he got yellow carded for like a head clash where I've forgotten who the other player was. I think it might have been, was it the first 5 for the Canes? He stepped right, but he was going the other way to tip. So he got duped by the step, and then they just clashed heads, and he got sent in the bin. I was like, working out what he would have done differently to avoid that.
I was trying to think about rugby wide-ons, like in terms of, like, remember Bowden's flick pass to Luke Jacobson against Argentina, right? That gave me a wide-on. And then I was thinking, you know, an amazing sidestep will give you a good wide-on. There was a good one from a Brumbies guy at the weekend, you know, where you just go, ooh, ankle breaker. And then you have the wide-on of just absolute wheels, the guy from the Ndrua, who just, like, puts on the afterburners, and you're like, oh, wide-on. But there's something about a bump-off wide-on that just gets you.
A bump off.
Well,
he did 2 big bump offs down the sideline. Yeah, I think it was against TJ Perenara. He just pushed him because it was one of those ones where they try to go low and just go, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, you fucking mosquito.
Yeah. And so a bump off wide on is still something spectacular, because I remember when Jonah obviously gave us those wide ons back in the 90s, and it was always impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A proper good old
bump off.
Yeah.
See you later. Right, births, deaths and marriages. So I think we've done it, haven't we? I think Levi Amui, that you've...
The centaur.
That's the centaur.
The centaur.
The centaur. They're playing the Blues on Saturday night, so at Eden Park too. So revenge. They did rest 11 players for that Tuesday night game. So hopefully a fresh Moana Pasifika can go out and rumble the Blues with Levi Amui, the centaur. Centaur.
There is something that at the top of the agenda that I'd like to bring into birthdays, deaths and marriages, and that is Will Smith versus Chris Rock. Obviously, there was a nice meme. Matt Heath isn't here, but he changed the Fresh Prince poster into the Fresh Prick of Bell End.
Yes, he was so proud of it. He brought it out on the commentary on Tuesday night of the Holland Black Caps. He was so desperate to make it go viral that he brought it out again in the commentary, and I think he's up to a couple of thousand likes, and I think he's quite proud of himself with the Fresh Prick of Bell End.
The Fresh Prick, of Bell End.
Get
that's one.
your wife out of your mouth! I'll get my wife out of your mouth.
Fresh Prick of Bell End, and I mean it is bloody good. That did I say the Fresh Prince of Bell End? The Fresh Prick, and that's you can find that on the Matt and Jerry Instagram page. Of thinking, what the hell is that poster? Someone's done the artwork. Who did the artwork?
I think that was Finn. I think Finn might have slapped that together in a hurry.
Mash.
Yeah, Mash.
Good old Mash. Eh? So yeah, I did enjoy that, and I thought of all the jokes that came out of it. There's so many. The weird thing about him being the open relationship, some of the ones aren't even jokes. It's just fans just tweeting at him, just going, oh, so you're happy to slap Chris Rock, but you're not slapping the guy who's clapping cheeks with your missus. So all this clapping cheeks carry on has got me quite excited in terms of...
Well, and the memes went out of control immediately. Within about 5 minutes, a meme was up with him slapping him. You know, that still of the slap?
Yeah.
And it says England won the World Cup, and Will Smith goes, it was a tie!
Yeah.
Immediately. It's just going to be one of those... It's going to be a meme that's going to live forever.
Oh, well, and that's... It will. The one thing that I noticed is nobody really addressed it that well, apart from Amy Schumer. I thought she was brilliant. She came back in about 15 minutes later and said, I was just getting changed out of that Spider-Man costume. Did I miss anything? Because the vibe seems to have changed in here. And I was going, that's nice. That is nice. Because but everybody else giving standing O's for Will Smith, and I don't know, Anthony Hopkins, I couldn't understand what he was saying. He pretty much, it was quite sort of cryptic, and he sort of said, I think Will Smith summed it up. I'm like, and then he said, let's all live in peace. And I was like, oh, is that a burn? Is he burning him? Is he supporting him?
That's a burn.
It was a burn.
We're not living in peace. He's come up and just smacked some dude in the face.
I know, but he was made out like he was supporting him. Did you see? You didn't see?
I didn't see.
Oh, no, so it was kind of weird.
I didn't see Hannibal Lecter's speech.
So he said, I think Will Smith summed it up. Yes, Clarice. I'll slap your face and then I'll eat it. But the thing is, I also reckon that Chris Rock coming to New Zealand is that tour is going to go off.
It's going to go off. Yeah.
And is he going to do media? Because we will, you know, the Kiwi media will be lapping it up.
Yeah, the publicists will be like, you are not to ask him about the slap. Yeah, no worries.
And Jono and Ben will turn up with a big foam hand and try and fucking slap. You know that they will, eh?
They will, yeah, totally.
Yeah, exactly. I can read them like a book, those boys. I'm going to tell. As soon as I tell them, they'll say, we've already ordered the foam hand, sorry.
you know, Rock My World and the commentary for the Dutch game. Well, I got told that when Thingy's eye fell out, you know, Thingy on
Yes.
that never ever happened. That was a Jono and Ben gag that they filmed later.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, Hendo.
My life's fallen to pieces.
Hendo, who was RIP, a wonderful man, and he worked for Sky TV. So he was the man, the voice of Thingy. Yeah. And so he was always available. Alan Henderson, Hendo, what a great man. Passed away from cancer a couple of years ago. And whenever you asked him to do the Thingy voice, straight into it, no qualms. Yeah. All right, then. I'm thinking, I don't know, how does Thingy... It's ridiculous. Can't fucking do Thingy. But anyway, if I heard Thingy, we could do Thingy. But anyway, it's... it doesn't surprise me. He was always happy to bring his
it was fake.
Thingy up.
The whole thing was fake. It
Right,
rocked my world. It rocked my world. So, attendance required, or have you got a McOnie Road Studios? Have you got anything this week?
I came up with one of Super Rugby O Picky, which was just oh Picky, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Oh Picky, oh Picky.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. I like that one.
So we can use that maybe next year.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's that pans out a little bit better.
And attendance required. Well, you've got your Super Rug. I'm kind of into the final four. Super Rug. Which is,
I like that, Super Rug.
Super Rug, yeah, because there's so many names. Just call it Super Rug.
Yeah.
And you've got the Final Four of the NCAA basketball thing, which everybody in America goes crazy for. And it is kind of interesting watching all
March Madness, all these old freaking coaches getting paid so much money, like millions and millions, and these poor pricks who are playing get paid zero. It's insane. I read about...
It's $1 billion industry.
Yes, it's $1 billion they make in 1 month.
Yeah.
The NCAA. Like, that is... And all the players get paid nothing. They all fly around in private jets. So they get used to the lifestyle because they get chauffeured everywhere.
Oh, and the universities make so much money that they've got better training facilities than most professional teams.
$1 billion US.
They funnel a bit of the money into the training facility.
It's insane. I don't think... It outrates NBA games.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane. I totally didn't understand the size and value of that.
So I think it's worth having a look because there's this guy, Coach K, who gets paid so much money, and he seems to me like an absolute punisher. And he's going out as a legend, and they might rig it so that he makes it through to the final. He's coached America and won gold medals and all that sort of stuff. But of course, he's never going to coach professionally because all he does is just make $9 million a year.
College kids.
Coaching college kids. And the scouts go out and sort of slightly do a few deals and get them in. Because, I mean, they're not allowed to pay them, but there's been a lot of kind of like questions about how it actually works.
Well, if you watch that the Netflix doco series on Headache Smith, who got done for game fixing. Yeah. But stupidly was getting paid and then went out and bought a brand new car with massive mags and new clothes. And everyone went, he's getting paid.
The thing about is Headache Smith, Headache. Yeah. I loved, obviously, there was a great documentary. This kid, he was an amazing player for Arizona or something like that, and he was definitely the best player on the team, and he could influence games, and he used it to match fix. But it's like, this is it. You're thinking he was a young guy, student who really became a puppet. It should not have ended his career.
Yeah.
But one thing America loved more than a psycho freaking white rich old boomer coaching basketball is they love a scapegoat.
Yeah. And
generally it happens to be a poor sort of black athlete in this case who has got no chance of ever coming back and playing the game that he was amazing at.
Yeah.
It's pretty shit.
Yeah, it's really sad watching him actually because he's like, fuck, he would have been close to the top 10 draft picks for the NBA, and he went from that to, I think he played in Greece.
Yeah.
He played in the Greek league.
Let's be honest, the whole Colin Kaepernick situation is absolute bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this is
that's the knee.
The guy that got the black quarterback for the 49ers who took a knee during the national anthem, he became this massive, again, the scapegoat, of course. And, you know, it's worth having. There's a Netflix documentary, which is kind of loaded in Colin's favour, but hey, feel free to read up on anything on the other side. Because you'll just be sickened, I guess, by the double standard and racism and whatever you want. It's pretty shit. We just kind of have to sit by and just go, oh, yeah, that's fine.
So attendance required. You've gone Super Rug,
NCAA.
Yeah. that it? Is that what's giving you? Is that two things people need?
Super Rug, NCAA. Yeah, let's get on that March Madness and just see what all the fuss is about, and feel sorry for the kids who aren't going to get into the NBA and might not even get into the NBL down here, and are just going to fade off back into obscurity.
That's a nice sad ending to that.
Sorry about that. It's actually exciting. In the end, they get the scissors out and they cut the net, and it's exciting.
And they get a little tiny bit each.
Yeah.
What do they do with that? Anyway, my attendance required. Super Rug, obviously, Friday night, Super Rug with us. And I'm going to throw it out there because we're going to try and revolutionise the coverage at 2 o'clock on Saturday and turn it into the biggest drinking game you've ever seen, because it's Holland v New Zealand from Snedden Park in Hamilton.
Yeah.
It is Ross Taylor's farewell tour. Unfortunately, he got clean bowled by a rip snorter from Mickey Rippon in Tauranga, but he's in his home city of the Tron. So worth a watch, and we'll try and breathe some life into it from 2 o'clock on Saturday.
His name is Rosh.
Rosh
Taylor.
Well, it's kind of Irish, isn't it, when you say that? Yeah.
Rosh.
Hey, James, can I just say, we probably talked more sport than we've ever done on a podcast just then.
Yeah, I know. And,
should we start again? Should we just delete that?
Yeah, we probably should.
Yeah.
What about, we've done the Chris Rock thing? No, we did that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.